Hi, it's my voice this time. My bad for not posting. I've been uninspired to record and edit and whatever. As a lot of people know, there's a lot of threatening shit happening in the US right now, and it's been a huge source of anxiety for me. I'm gonna try to make a schedule, so maybe I'll get my shit together. I'm thinking I'll just focus this channel on my general interests, so maybe just expect some cartoon stuff, obviously Muppet stuff. You know, who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll post video games or something. I've been in a pretty bad state of anxiety and depression recently, so I haven't been doing a ton, but I have been thinking about Muppets and cartoons a lot. Currently watching Gumball with my family, which is why I wanted to work on these designs. I've always kind of hated the humanizations for Richard, like Canon and Fanon. Oh, I just feel like people don't draw him like an actual middle-aged fat dude. Um, sorta channeling some Greg Universe energy with his hair, since it's implied he's into old school rock and stuff. I don't care what anyone says, he is so gender fluid and bisexual. If you say he's not, you have not watched the show, I don't think. I like the headcanon of Nicole being Asian, but I feel like a lot of people headcanon it because of the stereotype of overbearing Asian parents. There are a lot of in-show reasons to believe she's mixed, Thai and white, because of Siamese cats being a breed from Thailand and her dad being a Siamese cat. In all honesty, her hair is kind of based entirely on my mom's. My mom has short hair that she dyes every other month, and I feel like it just fit Nicole. I think her roots would always be grown out because she just doesn't have the time to touch them up. I don't see a lot of human NIE's designs, but in the ones I do see, she doesn't really look her age or doesn't really look like Richard, which I find kind of weird because in the show she looks a lot like Richard, because they're both pink rabbits. I like to think she takes after him a lot, at least appearance wise. I I really don't like when people just kind of forget that she's Thor and kind of just draw her as tall as Gumball or just slightly shorter, but she doesn't look like a 4-year-old. Um, Also, she is so autistic coded. I don't know whether it was intentional, but there are so many episodes that are just based on the fact oh no, Anais is just bad at socializing because she's weird. So I know that speaks for itself. Darwin designs are either a huge hit or the worst design in the world. I have seen some designs that are unbelievably accurate, I could see it as him, and then the most basic anime boy interpretation of him. I hate when people just ignore the fact that he is canonically black. Cartoon Network has confirmed it multiple times and people still don't give a shit. Despite the fact that he's in Gumball's class and acts similar to Gumball, Darwin is 10, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. He's literally just a little guy. Teensy wincy little fella. This may or may not be a hot take, but Gumball feels trans femme coded to me, so I'm gonna be using she, her pronouns. Building on my Nicole dyes her hair headcanon, I think Gumball begged her to dye her hair Gumball's, but Gumball never keeps up with it, so by the time she dyes her hair, the roots have grown out so much that there's only an inch or two of blue hair. Like Anais and Richard, I wanted Gumball to look like Nicole because of her in-show appearance. I feel like it's really important to take in the show appearance when making a human design because it can have some really important design elements that you don't want to miss. I think Penny is a really well done character. I like the fact that since the beginning she's been more than just Gumball's girlfriend or Gumball's crush, and she kept developing throughout the show. Uh, I love the idea of her losing her shell being a metaphor for coming out to her family. In the drawing, I did draw Penny pretty femme before her shell cracked, but I think she'd be identifying as a girl at school, just avoiding the conversation at home. I am really happy about the babe braids I found as a reference on Pinterest while I was looking for inspiration because I feel like they are so perfect for her out of shell design. Drawing Sarah was a lot of fun. I've seen like a lot of humanizations of her, but I feel like none of them truly capture her fangirl nature. I'm not saying that my design is perfect, but I feel like a lot of designs just don't do much for her personality, especially her canon design. I do not like it. You know, I have like a kind of weird headcanon, but like those kids who lick their lips so much that the skin above their upper lip and below their bottom lip is like red and irritated. She's one of those kids, and that's why her lips are so pigmented. Honestly, there isn't a lot I could do with Molly's humanization. I tried to give her a cute but boring outfit and just try to keep her generally basic. I like the concept of her and Sarah being friends, and I think it'd be really cute if they like wrote fanfics together. And Sarah would love your pencil collection, I know it. Another kind of hot take, but I don't really like Carball or Carrie X Darwin. Um, Carrie has always like felt teenager coded to me, and Darwin is canonically 10. And on top of the weird age gap, the relationship just feels kind of forced by the writers. I think it could have been better if they wrote it as like a one-sided crush. Like Darwin has a huge crush on Carrie, but it never really went anywhere because of the age gap. Also, Carrie is just such a lesbian to me. She's like, she's so lesbian coded. And I'm sorry for making all the characters gay, but they are really gay. Speaking of really gay characters, Leslie is my favorite character aside from Mr. Small. I made this design in 2024 because I was kind of just really mad about Leslie's canon design. Like, seriously, what the hell is that? The outfit is atrocious, and not like in a cute, campy way. It's just ugly, and I think that's cruel. The only thing I kind of liked was the blonde, but everything else is just bleh. His last name is just Flower in Italian. I had to give him a little friendship bracelet because Leslie and Masami are my favorite mean gay and mean girl duo. Masami's design is sort of similar to Tina's in the sense that I really like her canon design. I just wanted to add a couple more details. Matching friendship bracelet with Leslie, of course, some of her accessories and some cute stuff. I do wish her hair was a little fluffier in canon, but oh well. Of course, she has her little striped socks from The Gift. I think they're such a like cute pop of color for her design. And they just look good on her. I'm really proud of myself about Terry's last name. It can mean doctor or weak, which is in Old English, which is really just perfect for her. I will always say that Terry is trans because of the pilot, and also just her general vibes. I could headcanon her to have an actual hypochondrial anxiety disorder and diagnosed OCD she's on meds for. She's way too paranoid for it to just be like nothing. If you've been on my Instagram for like the last 2 years, you might know that this Carmen design is actually older than my Leslie design, or I think any of my human designs. I think her sweater is really spiky for some reason. Like it's one of those like really weirdly spiky plush fabrics, but she just likes the texture. I've seen some designs of her with little spiked bracelets or chokers, but those just don't really fit her. I don't know if it's like really clear in the drawing, but her buns are supposed to be offset, like kind of how her head looks in the show. Hector is actually one of my favorite characters because he's just a big sweetie. Um, because it's like kind of like the only trait that he really has is that he's a giant. He has gigantism. I think his mom made him his hoodie. Like she knitted it from like a fuzzy yarn or something. His nails are painted because he's been so sheltered from social norms. He doesn't really understand that it's like weird for a teenage boy to paint his nails. Colin and Felix are those little nerdy egg guys, little eggheads in Gumball and Darwin's class. I really like them, even though they don't make a lot of appearances where they have dialogue or have any real relevance to the plot. The last name Montague it's kind of a reference to Shakespeare, kind of because when I was researching last names, it just sounded right to me, and also they seem like I feel if they had a last name that was referenced in like a famous Shakespeare play, I feel like they talk about it all the time. It's never been stated that they're brothers or related in any way, but I think that because they always appear together and look almost identical, it's like pretty fair to assume that they are brothers or whatever. I'm not sure why, but Felix just set off my gaydar. I have no clue why he did. I was just drawing him and I was like, no, I think he's gay. Like, I really wanted to take into account the fact that Alan has like no limbs or just like can't use them in the show. So in this design, he has diplegic cerebral palsy, a type of spastic cerebral palsy that primarily affects the legs, or just either the legs or arms, just two limbs, and can make movement difficult. He also has phocomelia, a rare genetic condition that can cause limbs to be abnormally short or deformed. I tried to do as much research as I could on this stuff, so I hope I portrayed it accurately. In this design, I also wanted to try and take into account that the fact that Alan is supposed to be like stupidly handsome, so I tried to give him some, standard American beauty standard features. I actually like William in the show. I think it's a funny concept, like a floating eyeball with wings, and I really enjoy this episode because of the fact that he's basically mute in the show. I headcanon he has CIS, or childhood apraxia of speech, which is a speech disorder that makes it difficult for your brain to process the muscles needed to talk. I wanted to make William look a little bit like creepy because of how he's viewed in the show, as a creepy kid who just stares all the time. I think he's autistic or just a kid who really struggles with social norms and socialization in general. The last name on William is actually a headcanon. It means sight in Latvian. I think Juke's adorable. I really like the character. I really like just characters in general that speak in weird ways or communicate in sounds rather than like an actual language. Because of the episode where we found out he's from Boomboxenberg, I decided he's Dutch and just picked some names that would make the nickname Juke make sense. I didn't really want to change his canon design that much because I actually really like how they designed him in the show. My drawing of him is a little janky, but at this point in the designs, I was starting to kind of get a little tired. Like all my other humanizations, I try to take in everything like said or mentioned about the character's appearance. Multiple times, it's been like mentioned that Tina is quote-unquote ugly, so I tried to tie that into this. I had canon that the reason her mom isn't like in the show is because she's in the army. Like pile that angst on, so her being a bully makes sense. I didn't really want to change her canon design too much because I think it's pretty good. I just wanted to add a couple more details. And side note, why does nobody ever talk about the fact that like Tina and Hector had crushes each other in season 1? Like the ship is so cute, and I have no idea why it's like not more popular. I think Jamie is pretty cute in this show. I actually like her. I kind of Stewie Griffined her head in this drawing, but I'm still pretty happy with the overall design. Of course, I had to give her little bruises and band-aids because of how many fights she gets into, and she just seems like the type of kid to get hurt a lot. Bobbert is another one of my favorites. I think his last name is just changing the canon last name 6B into a regular last name. I think he's just like humanized. He's just a weird autistic kid who acts like a robot 24/7. Like, no matter what you ask him, what he's doing, he is going to do it as a robot. I know that's the negative stereotype of like, oh, all autistic people act like robots, but as an autistic person, Bobber is some pretty cute representation, and I like the idea of him being autistic. Weirdly, Tobias is actually one of my favorite characters. I'm not sure why, I just like him. I have mixed feelings about his canon human design. On one hand, him being a ginger is hilarious. On the other hand, there is no world where Rachel Wilson is a white woman. Harold has like evil white man vibes, but Rachel Wilson? No. I do like his braces, so I wanted to keep those. At his core, he's a scrawny loser, and the braces add to that. I hate Butcher's canon design with my whole heart. The bowl cut, the ugly ass outfit, is horrible. I wanted to take a little bit of inspiration from that one gag in The Blame, where Ocho, before video games, is just Jacob Hopkins, and so I made his hair blonde and gave him blue eyes. He is ironically emo, and he's friends with Carrie because of emo hair solidarity or whatever. They don't really hang out unless there's no other option. Admission time. I have shipped Tobias and Ocho since 2023. Sue me, it's a cute dynamic, and it's funny. I really like Banana Joe's canon design. I think that all the moles and birthmarks are fitting, and the design is just generally good. I did make a ton of edits to it, though. I really do think he would have a mullet. It just feels very fitting for him. He also just feels like the type of kid to wear like a cringy Minecraft shirt every day, no matter what is happening. Fun fact, Sussy is my dad's favorite character. I really like her, regardless of the fact that she's mainly just to be like a stupid comedic character. I chose the last name Blythe for her because it means joyful, and that's a lot of what there is to her personality. I think her canon human design is really cute. I just wish they gave her like a lazy eye, because being cross-eyed is just such a huge, prominent like aspect in her design. I didn't change much of her canon design. I really just shaved off some of the details that I didn't think were necessary, and I changed the dress to match with her regular one. Idaho is a strange Amish boy, and that's really all I have to say about him. I think he's probably a Mennonite, which is basically just being Amish, but you can use some technology, kind of. Designing him was just trying to make a human look as much like a potato as possible. This canon design is just... no. The last name Baumann is German and means farmer or builder, because I like easy last names. And speaking of easy last names, I think the reasoning behind behind Anton's last name is pretty obvious. His human design in the show is fine. I just wish they gave him his weird little purple shoes. And it's one of the only interesting parts about his design. I don't have much else to say about him other than look at his square little head. Clayton likely has mythomania, a psychological condition that causes people to lie impulsively for no reason. There's not a lot of research about this condition, but it's likely caused by insecurity and/or childhood trauma. Clayton has been shown to not really have any friends, which usually results in low self-esteem. On a lighter note, Clayton's last name Harbutt is because the inventor of plasticine, the type of clay primarily used for stop motion animation, is named William Harbutt. I thought Clayton's design was too boring with just a red t-shirt, so I added the little nod to his in-show design. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry about the audio quality, and if I sound awkward doing this, I haven't recorded like my voice doing a YouTube video since like 2020 when I still made like shitty Roblox videos. But I don't know. Hopefully this will go well, and I might make more videos like this in the future. Bye bye.